What's up guys, Spencinerator here and welcome back for a long-awaited GameMaker tutorial, I'm sure. I'm terribly sorry I haven't been uploading tutorials. I've been busy with my Let's Play series, but since I'm in between series, I am going to be uploading more tutorials now. Yay! Now, anyways, I am a huge Mario fan, and I know that there's tons of... Shut up, Norton. There's tons of cool, platforming engines on YouTube and stuff, but I've kind of noticed a little spectrum with them. They either are really good, like movement, like smooth movement, friction, and acceleration, and deceleration, and gravity, and all that good stuff, and then they glitch a lot. Or there's the ones that are really glitch free, and they do exactly what you want them to, only they're not very smooth movement. And I'm going to show you guys how to make a smooth movement one that doesn't glitch around, because this took me like a few days of messing around with and trying different approaches, but we are going to be making a perfect platform engine today. So first things first, we're going to make an object for our ground. Because I didn't go over them, you don't really need to go over them, because games graphics are not really important except for collision detection. But I have a sprite for player and for ground. They're just little default sprites that I loaded out of GameMaker's files. We're going to make an object for our ground. I'm going to call it obj_ground, assign it sprite ground. Why did I click events? We just need to make it solid, and that's all. Another object we need to make is the player, and that's the last object we're going to need to make, but this is going to be a little bit more complicated than just the wall. We're going to first have a create event, and we're going to add some important variables. We're going to do a little 3/ deal so we can title our code and call it important variables, because it's going to be where all our important variables we're going to need for this game are going to be created. First things first, we're going to have a maximum speed, because we're going to be playing with this horizontal speed, and we're going to have it increase, so it's actually, you're actually accelerating. You're not going to start going at a speed from a standstill, like just suddenly start going. You're going to have a little bit of a build up to get to your maximum speed. We're going to put it to 5 for now. We might be able to make him sprint so he can go a little faster. Then we need to have another variable that checks if he's in the air, so we're going to call it jump, and we're just going to equal 0 or false, whichever one, either one will work. And last one, make sure we have friction, and that's going to be 0.5, I think will work. It doesn't really matter, just a value kind of around that range right there. Higher friction, the faster they'll slow down after you release your key that you're going to have him move with, and also stuff like that. So next thing is our step event, and this is where most of our code is going to be. We're going to call it movement in the title with our 3/ marks, and I can't seem to type today. First things first, we're going to do our little gravity here, a little comment so you know it's gravity. Title that little section of code, and we're going to have this code: if place free, meaning if the place is free, X, meaning the X position of the player, Y, meaning the Y position of the player, plus 1. So this is if the place is free at the point right below the player. Oops. And we're going to have vspeed increase by 1.5. So he's going to increase his vspeed. Also, one more thing. The jump is going to equal 1 or true, whichever one you're using. If you're using false, then you're going to put it to true. Now the reason you want to have that when you press the button to jump is because you want to have it be when the place is free. Because a common glitch that I noticed with this type of engine, with this kind of movement engine I'm going to show you, if you don't do this jump thing, and I'm going to show you how it's all going to come together in the end, but if you don't do this jump system right here with the variable testing the jump, you can get stuck on a wall when you jump toward a wall. If you like misjudge your jump on a cliff or something, you'll get stuck on the wall and kind of glitch your way down like the wall is sticky or something, and it looks terrible. I'm not going to show it to you without the jump, but if you do know what I'm talking about, you know what what I'm talking about, and it looks terrible, you know. So anyways, else jump equals 0. Now the next thing and basically what that does is we don't want to have the jump equal 0 when he collides with the wall. We want to have it be if the place is not free. So basically the same thing as else. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to do our movement, or our horizontal movement, right? So horizontal movement. And the first thing we're going to do is if keyboard check VK, I always do right first, VK right, and place free X plus max speed Y. Oops. So what this means is if the right key is being pressed and you can move right basically because you know X plus that is to the right of him and that's the maximum speed you can travel, then we're gonna have this happen. We're gonna have hspeed plus equals 1 if hspeed is greater than or equal to the maximum speed, then hspeed is going to equal max speed. Whoops. Alrighty. And oh yes, I did that. Alright, so what we want to do is just make it faster. We're going to copy and paste that. Sorry, a little tongue-tied there. And what we want to do is change that to left. And instead of going to the right, we're going left. So we're going to check if X minus max speed is free. So we're going to have the hspeed minus equal 1. And if the hspeed is less than or equal to the negative max speed, then the hspeed is going to equal negative max speed. So basically, you can increase your speed negatively or positively, basically, and if that speed is more than or less than the positive or negative versions of the maximum speed, it's going to stop at max speed. We're going to have the maximum speed be a variable. That way, if you have a sprint mechanism, you can change the max speed and allow you to go faster. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do our little jump, and the jump is actually just very simple, and all we have to do is if keyboard check pressed, and the reason why I have press is otherwise you could hold the up key and just keep floating off into space, and that wouldn't be good. So we're going to have VK up, obviously, and unless you want to do a double jump, the little exclamation point here, this little exclamation point means play not. So if the place is not free, X, Y plus 1. So this is the same deal. If the place is not free right below you, meaning there is something below you, a solid below you, then we can do this. We're going to have our vspeed equal, I don't know, negative 18. Let's call it that. That's a good value. That's the value I'm actually working with in the current platformer that my buddy and me were working on. Now the last thing we want to do, just so we can have a little sprint effect, just a little bonus, we're going to have a little sprint system. Let's call it sprint. And if keyboard check VK, let's go with shift. Whoops, I completely messed that up. Shift. There we go. Whoops. Oh man, that was bad. Then we're gonna have the max speed equal 7. Alright, so you can go pretty dang fast. And then we're gonna have, just copy and paste this actually. Whoops. Oh crap. Undo that. Control C. There we go. And we're gonna have a little exclamation point there. So if the keyboard, the key shift is not being interacted with, we're gonna have the max speed equal 5 again. So with that done, we're gonna have. So this basically is gonna change our speed. That's a little bonus for you guys. Last thing we want to do is we want to have a collision with the wall or ground. I called it the wall, and I can't believe I didn't assign a sprite for our player. There's a sprite. Make sure you do that. Don't forget to do that. That's bad if you don't. Now the first thing we want to do is have move contact solid, and the direction is the direction, and maximum distance will be 12. That's pretty good. It's pretty universal. Pretty much everyone does that. vspeed is going to equal 0, obviously, but the last thing I want to do is, because otherwise you're going to glitch around if you don't add this little last part of code in, if jump, because if jump equal 1, whoops, hspeed equals 0. And what that's basically going to do is, because if you didn't do that, then if you're still traveling because of the friction and everything, then you're going to kind of get stuck, because you're going to be, the object still wants to get through the wall, but it can't, because it's going to move contact solid, and the vspeed is going to be 0, so it's just going to kind of glitch around and look gross. But if we put this in there, it's going to look really good. So now that we have all that in place, we're going to create a room, and let's put our object player in there, and let's make a little world for him to travel in. There's a platform for there, and let's have one up here that he can jump on, just so we can test the thing. Let's have a little wall up here that he can't get over, but we can jump around next to, so I can show you that the glitch does not happen. And if it loads up, it's going to be a little slow, but that's it. That should be fine. Here we go. So you can move around, and you can see that you speed up a lot, right? You can jump. That looks good. If you hold shift, you can go super fast. Well, it doesn't actually change that much because you're already going pretty fast. And you can jump over there, and you can jump up there, and you won't glitch in the wall. That's really good stuff. And also the best thing about this is when you release the arrow keys to the side, you still kind of travel to the right a little bit or the left when you're in the middle of the air, because the friction is slowing you down, but you're not just stopping. And that's one of the problems with X and Y based platform engines. Oh, I just fell off a cliff. Because you just stop going in the middle of the air, and you can maneuver a lot through the air, which is not really very realistic. But you know, that's for another tutorial. So basically, that's pretty much it for this tutorial, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hope it helped you guys out, because this, you know, that problem right there, it just had me like frantic and freaked out for days. So I want to make sure you guys enjoyed this tutorial and make sure it helped you guys. So if it didn't help you guys and you're still having some problems, leave a comment under the video. And if it did help you guys, make sure to leave a like, because those things help out a ton. And if you're not already subscribed to my channel, make sure to subscribe, because I have many more tutorials coming out, as well as some gaming videos and all kinds of other cool stuff that you guys might like. So until then, I'll see you guys next time.